The wind howled across the empty desert of Vorn Prime, carrying fine golden dust that shimmered under the pale sun. Once this world had been a battlefield. Now it was silent, an endless graveyard of forgotten machines and broken dreams. Far below the surface, inside a massive underground ruin, a young human engineer named Elias Dre wiped sweat from his brow. His torchlight reflected off metal walls carved with strange patterns, symbols from a war older than his grandparents' grandparents. Still nothing but junk, his partner called through the comm. Yeah, Elias replied, brushing dust off an old control panel. But this junk built the stars. Someone's got to understand it. He didn't know what he was looking for, only that humanity had begun to rediscover old places like this, ruins from the Great Stellar War, a war fought 200 years ago between humans and a machine empire called the Athari. The official stories said humanity had won, but Elias knew that wasn't the full truth. He pressed his hand against a cracked metal door. To his surprise, it moved, slowly, painfully, then opened. A faint blue light glowed inside. The chamber beyond was unlike anything he had seen. The walls were covered in crystal-like vines that pulsed gently, as if alive, and in the center of the room, half buried in dust, rested a sword. It was long and dark, almost black, but its surface shimmered like oil under sunlight. Strange symbols glowed faintly along its edge, and the air around it felt heavy, almost electric. Elias knelt beside it. His heart beat faster. "Command, I've found something," he whispered. "What kind of something?" "A weapon." "I think," no answer came. The signal was breaking up underground. He reached out and brushed the dust off the blade's hilt. The world froze. A cold voice echoed inside his mind, soft but filled with confidence. "Missed me?" Elias gasped and stumbled back, dropping his torch. The light flickered across the room. The sword began to hum, and the air shimmered with blue light. Before his eyes, a figure began to form, made of light, armor, and memory. She knelt, one knee on the floor, holding the sword upright. Her armor was scarred but elegant, black with glowing blue veins that pulsed with life. Her face was calm yet fierce, her eyes closed. A faint scar ran across where her eyes should have been. Elias stood frozen. Who are you?" The figure tilted her head. "I am Seren Valis, the blinded warlord of the Voidfront." "And you, human, woke me." Her voice was not robotic, not cold, it was alive. She opened her eyes, revealing faint lights glowing under damaged optics. "How long has it been?" she asked softly. Elias swallowed hard. 200 years. Maybe more. The war's over. Humanity won. Seren was silent. She touched the blade gently, her fingers trembling. 200 years, she repeated. "Then the stars have forgotten me." He watched her closely. There was sadness in her tone, a mix of pride and loss. "What are you?" he asked. "A soldier," she said simply. "Born from human code and alien flesh. I fought beside your kind in the Great War. When I fell, I sealed myself in this blade. I waited for someone worthy to find me." Elias looked around the room, feeling the weight of her words. "You waited all this time? Alone?" "Yes," Seren said. "But I am not alone now." She turned toward him, and for a moment he felt her gaze pierce straight through him, even though her eyes were barely functioning. "You touched my blade. Our link is forged." Elias shook his head. "I didn't mean to." "You were meant to," she interrupted gently. "Nothing happens by chance." Before he could reply, his comm crackled. "Elias, something's happening up top, some kind of energy surge." "You need to get out now." The room trembled. Dust fell from the ceiling. Seren turned toward the entrance. "They have heard me." "Who?" Elias asked. "The Athari," she said grimly. "They always listen." Outside, orbiting satellites that had been dead for centuries flickered to life. Deep within the sands, buried machines stirred. Elias's heart raced. "We have to go," Seren nodded, standing tall. "Take the blade." "I will follow," he hesitated. "You're serious?" "You freed me. Now run." He grabbed the sword, it felt heavier than it looked, and sprinted toward the exit. Behind him, the ruins began to collapse. Seren's form flickered, then solidified. She followed him easily, moving like wind, her steps silent despite the falling debris. They burst out into the open desert just as the ground exploded behind them. A massive mechanical drone shaped like an ancient insect rose from the sand. Its red eyes glowed with old hate. Elias ducked behind a rock. "What is that thing?" A sentinel, Seren said. A machine that once obeyed me, before they turned against their creators. The drone fired a pulse beam, scorching the sand. Seren lifted her hand and blue energy flared around her arm. The beam hit her shield and scattered into sparks. She looked at Elias. Can you fly? What? Your ship, can it fly? Barely. Then run. I'll handle this. Elias hesitated, but the look on her face left no room for argument. He ran toward his small shuttle, half buried nearby. Behind him, thunder roared as Seren charged the sentinel. She moved like a storm, blade glowing bright. Even half blind and weakened, she was deadly. With one swift strike, she cut the drone in half. Its remains exploded in a burst of fire. When Elias turned, she was walking toward him through the smoke, calm as if nothing had happened. He helped her climb aboard the shuttle. You just took out a war machine. Seren smiled faintly. And you restarted my heart, human. We are even. The shuttle lifted off, engines screaming. As they rose through the atmosphere, Elias looked out the window. Far above, dozens of faint red lights appeared among the stars. More drones awakening. Seren stared at them, silent. The war never ended, she said quietly. They only slept, waiting for me to wake. Elias turned to her. Then we need to warn the colonies. She nodded slowly. Yes, but first we need power. My systems are failing. Your people's world has changed. I must learn it again. The ship entered orbit, leaving the dead planet behind. In the faint light of the stars, Seren touched the window, watching the galaxies shimmer. I once thought your kind weak, she said softly, but you found a way to survive even after losing everything. That is not weakness, Elias didn't know how to answer. He was too busy staring at the stars and wondering what kind of storm he had just unleashed. Seren leaned back, closing her damaged eyes. 200 years, she murmured again. And now, the deadliest warrior wakes once more. Outside, the first signal pulses from the awakening machine spread across space. Far away, deep in the darkness, something vast and ancient opened its own eyes. And in the quiet hum of the ship, Elias could still hear the faint whisper in his mind. Missed me? The human colony of Aster Reach floated among bright blue nebula clouds, its metal cities shining under the twin suns. To most, it was a place of peace and trade. But peace would not last. In the center of the colony, a research station buzzed with activity. Engineers, soldiers, and scientists surrounded a large glass chamber. Inside it stood Seren Vallis, silent as machines scanned her armor. Elias Dre watched from behind the glass, uneasy. It had been 3 weeks since he found Seren on Vorn Prime. In that time, word had spread fast about the ancient warrior, the sleeping blade, and the old war machines that had started waking again. Some called her a savior, others called her a weapon that should have stayed buried. Dr. Mira Holt, the station's head scientist, looked at Elias. She's not fully human, is she? Elias shook his head. She said she was made from both, human and machine, built to fight the Athari. Mira frowned. And now the Athari are coming back. A faint hum filled the air. The lights flickered. Seren opened her eyes. Her blue optics glowed brighter than before. I can hear them, she said softly. Hear who? Elias asked. The Athari. Their signal spreads through the void. They are gathering their fleets again. Mira stepped closer to the glass. Then we need to prepare for war. Seren tilted her head. Humans fought with courage before. Will they do so again? Elias met her gaze. We'll fight. But our weapons are nothing compared to yours. Seren smiled faintly. Then we will teach your weapons to think like warriors. The forgotten memory. Later that night, Seren sat alone in the station's hangar, polishing her blade. She looked almost peaceful, but her thoughts were heavy. She remembered flashes of the past, the last war, the screams of ships burning, her final stand against the Athari flagship. She had sacrificed her sight to destroy it. Now she had a chance to finish what began long ago. Elias approached quietly. You should rest. I do not need rest, Seren said without looking up. But I do need answers. Tell me, Elias, what became of the humans after we won? Elias smiled a little. We rebuilt. It took a long time, but we made colonies, cities, and even new governments. People stopped fighting. They started exploring again. Sarian nodded. You learned to live. She paused, her voice softer. That is what I fought for. A future where humans could live without fear. Then she turned her damaged eyes toward him. You have done well. Elias felt a strange warmth in her words. She wasn't speaking like a machine or a soldier. She was speaking like someone proud of humanity. But their peace was short-lived. A sudden alarm echoed through the base. Warning! Unknown ships detected entering the system. The return of the machines Elias and Seren rushed to the command deck. On the holographic screen, dark shapes appeared. Massive warships with red lights glowing like eyes. The Ithari, Seren said quietly. They found us. The colony's defense ships scrambled, but compared to the Ithari fleet, they were small and slow. Evacuate civilians, Mira shouted. Get everyone underground. Seren turned to Elias. Bring me to your fleet. Elias blinked. You can't fight them alone. I will not fight alone, she said calmly. I will fight with you. The Seraph line within hours, engineers and pilots worked under Seren's command. Using her ancient knowledge, they connected her consciousness to human ships through a neural link system. Each pilot could now see fragments of her vision, feel her instincts, and react faster than ever before. They called it the Seraph Network, a bond between human courage and ancient power. Elias volunteered as the lead pilot of the flagship Valiant. When he sat in the cockpit, the connection formed instantly. He felt a pulse in his mind, a voice, calm and strong. I am with you, Seren said. He smiled. Let's save our people. The Battle of Orion's Edge, the human fleet, now guided by Seren's link, faced the incoming Ithari armada near the edge of the system. The sky burned with trails of plasma and fire. The Ithari ships moved like a perfect machine, cold and calculated. But the humans, though fewer, fought with something else, instinct and heart. Through the neural network, Seren spoke to every pilot. Do not fear. You are more than flesh and metal. You are the light they cannot understand. Elias maneuvered the Valiant between two enemy cruisers, firing plasma bursts into their engines. With Seren's guidance, he dodged beams that should have destroyed him. Across the field, smaller human ships used clever tricks. Fake signals, sudden dives, coordinated traps. Seren was impressed. You fight with chaos and courage. The machines cannot predict that. But then, the sky turned red. The Ithari flagship, larger than a city, emerged from hyperspace. Its main weapon, a super laser, charged with a deep crimson glow. Mira's voice crackled over the comms. One shot from that thing and we're finished. Seren's voice echoed through every pilot's mind. Then we stop it before it fires. The final stand Elias flew straight toward the flagship, weaving through enemy fire. Seren, tell me what to do, he shouted. Link deeper, she said. Let me see through your eyes. Their minds connected fully. Elias could feel her strength, her calm focus, her centuries of battle wisdom. At the same time, Seren could feel his determination, his fear, his hope, his humanity. Together, they became something new. The Valiant dived toward the flagship's weapon core. The Ithari fired again and again, but Elias moved faster than any human could, guided by Seren's reflexes. They reached the core. Seren focused all remaining energy through the ship's reactor. This will destroy the weapon. And us, Elias realized. Seren's voice softened. Then we will end it together. But before she could finish the countdown, Elias smiled. Not today. He rerouted the power to remote drones, sending them to the flagship's weak points. You taught us to fight smart, remember? The drones exploded in a chain reaction. The flagship's core overloaded, bursting into a bright blue fireball. The shockwave spread across space, destroying the Ithari fleet in seconds. The battle was won. A new dawn, when the light faded, the Valiant drifted silently. Elias woke to the sound of static. "Seren?" he whispered. Her voice was faint but warm. "I see it now, Elias. I see what you've built, a universe worth saving." He looked around the bridge. Her hologram shimmered beside him, fading slowly. "You're disappearing," he said. "My body is gone," she replied. "But my spirit will stay. Inside the Seraph network. Inside every ship, every pilot who carries your courage." Elias lowered his head. "Thank you, Seren." "No," she said gently. "Thank you. You reminded me why I fought." Her image faded completely, leaving only the faint glow of her sword resting beside the pilot's seat. Outside the window, the nebula clouds glowed softly. Human ships flew together, forming a shining formation in the distance. The war was over, for now. Elias picked up the blade, staring at his reflection in it. The faint whisper returned in his mind, calm, familiar, almost playful. "Missed me?" he smiled. "Always." As the Valiant turned toward home, the stars stretched before them. Humanity had survived once again, not because of stronger weapons, but because of the same fire that had carried them through every dark age: hope, courage, and the will to fight for life. And far away among the stars, the legend of Asarin Valis, the blinded warrior who fought for humanity, was born again.